got to launch his 47 Twitch streams.
Check your body.
Hello everyone, welcome to Gamersledge podcast, episode 341, Werewolves, Wandavisions, and Wrestling, oh my. Joining us tonight, we have a full house, starting at the top of the list, to my far left, just underneath me on the right side of the screen, is Dan. Hi, Dan.
Hey folks, how's it going?
And next to him is Matt. How are you doing, Matt?
Doing well, thank you.
And also joining us is Keegan.
Hello.
You didn't say it long enough to actually switch to Keegan.
Hello.
There you go. And last but not least, it's Burgundy / Dave / the Tired God.
Hold on. Okay, now we're good. Hi, how you doing?
Good. We have a ton of different things. Hi, Mr. J Nice. Yes, this is a new stream. And thank you, Perpetua, for becoming a fan. We have a ton of things to go over that happened in the last couple weeks. We've got gaming news, we've got wrestling news, we've got tabletop news, we've got television news. But we should first go around the room, keeping it shorter. Otherwise, we will finish at 9:30. What have you been up to since the last time we gathered? Let's start with you, Keegan.
Okay, so mostly only anime. So I've watched I have it right here. I've watched all of Parasite, an anime called Say I Love You. Then The World in Color, and the most recent episode of Attack on Titan.
Cool. Played anything?
I've played a little bit of Smash Bros. With my roommate as well.
Nice.
That's everything.
All right. Matt, how about you?
I finished off on the book front. I finished off Cibola Burn, which is the 4th book of the Expand series, and started Nemesis Games, which is the 5th book. So I am actually in the same season and same book for the first time since this thing happened. I have not caught up on the TV show yet, though. That's tonight. I've been playing Days Gone. I'm in the back third of the game somewhere, but I'm not exactly sure where. But yeah, it's fun. It's got its problems, but it's still fun, open worldy thing. Divinity Original Sins 2, we've been playing that still. I'm sure at some point or another we played some Fortnite. It's been a few days at least since I played it, though. On the TV front, we're watching Prodigal Son, The Rookie, I watched season 1 of A Discovery of Witches with my wife. Season 2 is streaming on various things that we don't have access to at the moment. And then WandaVision. And I also watched the Marvel, I think it's called Legends. It's the 2 short like highlight reels that they have, one for Wanda and one for Vision. The thing that did make me realize, though, is, I didn't realize how much she aged from our first appearance. I forgot how much she looked like a 16-year-old when we saw her, Wanda, at first versus now.
Did he just freeze?
I think so.
Okay.
He froze.
He's mid sneeze.
Do you need to go like tap him or something?
He's having a seizure or something. Keegan's at college, so that's not going to happen.
Okay, yeah, that's bad then.
Oh, welcome back.
Oh.
We thought you had a seizure.
Oh. Okay, where did I...
Oh, he's gone again.
He's
back.
Oh, he's back. Okay.
Wait, maybe?
No, he's
there?
staring a hole in my soul. Okay, no, he's moved now.
And he's
I'm just gonna have to drop. I don't think I can stream and watch at the same time, apparently.
Oh, just don't watch. That's fine.
Yeah.
No problem.
I just wasn't sure if we were doing it or not, so that's why I was in there. Okay, so where did I leave off? Or am I gone again?
Wanda looking like a 16-year-old at the beginning.
Okay, so
and how much
so
that Legend show sucks.
I mean, it's a recap, right? I mean, it's a
not
memory
a show.
tickler.
Yeah, it's not a show.
It's just a memory tickler highlight reel for characters. I'm assuming because we're only a month out now from Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm guessing those two will both have
clip shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't even call it an episode. Don't call it an episode. It's a clip show. It's
an entry there. Let's call it an entry.
One second. Jared, level 2, thanks for following. You are a rock star. Appreciate it. Go ahead. Sorry.
And then I've been still slowly working on the original Mobile Suit Gundam, and I got through a couple of weeks worth of comic books. So That's good. Okay, done.
Okay.
Sorry for the delays.
No, you're good. That brings us then, after Matt, to let's do Dave next.
Really? I'm trying to get drunk.
Yeah, that's why I was doing it, because I saw you mid-sip.
All right. What have I been doing? Shockingly, still play Animal Crossing every day. I don't even know why I do it, but I just do it. It's like a habit now, and I can't break it, and I don't want to. So, like, it's kind of like a coping mechanism at this point.
You don't want to play, or you don't want to
stop?
I don't want to stop. I don't want to
okay.
stop.
All right.
Like that's like it. Yeah. Like that's just not gonna happen. Like it's we're in this now, and so yeah. And there's still always like new stuff popping up. So I'm just gonna keep going. I was also playing Hades, which is awesome.
Yes.
We talked about that before, right? I think I was playing that last time.
Yes.
That game's great. Scott Pilgrim came out. The re-release of that hit the Switch, PlayStation. I think it hit everything as a re-release. That game is just, if you love 2D brawlers, the old school kind of 16-bit era, stuff, and Scott Pilgrim, it's great. You should definitely pick that up. And I also downloaded that the PS Plus freebie Destruction Derby, whatever. What's it called? It's like All-Star Destruction Derby or something.
Yeah, something like that.
It's whatever. It's like, kind of like semi-generic, but it's actually kind of cool. I downloaded it for my son, to mainly mess around with, and like he was having a blast with it. He like wanted to play the most evil-looking dude with like horns and stuff and a flame shooting out his face, and I'm just like, all right, kid, okay, this is sure. If you're gonna have nightmares from that, which he doesn't, he lies. He says like dumb stuff is scary, but like he'll sit there and play that. So he was having a blast with it. It seems kind of fun. It has it almost had like a San Francisco Rush 2049 feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that too obscure or anything.
No, I mean not
That
for
was a
me.
popular. That was a popular game, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's got that like look and feel to it. So I was kind of like digging that, and you can like smash cars into stuff and do things like that. So just it seems like a fun little diversion. So I'm cool with that. Watching The Expanse, I'm starting to get back into that and actually like dedicate time to it. Resident Alien. Has anybody talked about that?
I watched episode 1 of that too. I forgot about that. I watched
Yeah,
episode 1.
I got through 3 episodes of that last night. I just couldn't stop, and there was like 3 episodes available, so I watched that. The show's hilarious. Alan Tudyk is a national treasure. He's right up there with like Paul Rudd. Like that guy is just like he needs to be protected. That guy is just hilarious, and everything he touches is gold. And I think he's just really underappreciated. He's like I always sit there like whenever I'm in the mood for a horror movie, and I sit there like I was like flipping around cable. I'm like, oh, 28 Days Later is on, and it's not 28 Days Later. It's actually 28 Days, which is like a rehab movie, but it's got Alan Tudyk in it, so I'll watch it. And it's just like, man, he's really good in just everything. So a big fan of that. The show is hilarious, dark humor.
And he's totally ripping on the Robin Williams Mork character, right? The way he does the presentation. I'm not imagining that, right? I mean, it's a total riff on it.
Yeah, you can tell. Oh man, I made the best cherry old fashioned tonight. Like I was just kind of like throwing something together right before this. This is just damn good. Oh my god. Sorry, that's a good one. And so that show's good. I recommend that for if anybody likes Alan Tudyk, which if you don't, just get out of my life. The guy's awesome. WandaVision, caught up on that. Yeah, that's about it. Next,
Daniel.
Wow, how do you follow that up? I haven't played much. Just running the games, most of them on this stream.
That's not true. You played a video game. I'm not saying you liked it, but you played one.
Oh yeah, I did. Am I allowed to talk about that?
Yes.
Was that bad? Was it that bad?
Oh man, Werewolf. Yeah, I played Werewolf. I played Werewolf for 2.5 hours and wanted 8 hours of my life back. And I love that. I love the fluff. I love the fluff of that.
There's our box quote.
Yeah. Yeah.
New merch in the merch store. Go check it out. 9 out of 10 Gamersledge. Could have been better.
So there's that WandaVision caught up on. Expanse season finale we have not yet seen, but that's sitting in our queue. We just started Harley, and Harley being the Harley Quinn animated show on HBO, not a kids show.
No.
Yeah, we started it going, I wonder how adult this. Oh.
Also starring Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, also starring Alan Tudyk, which is what reminded me that I watched that this week was Alan Tudyk. And then also Letterkenny. We started Letterkenny this week.
Nice.
And picked up
Tabletop.
To be fair,
don't sue us, Letterkenny. Because
pitter patter, let's scatter. Yeah, so a lot of TV watching, some movie watching, but mostly old stuff. And there was something else. Got some stuff 3D printed. Did some VR with the kids, but everything older. And that's about it. Other than prepping and reading about role-playing games. This was a big work week, so there wasn't a lot of that. But I am looking forward to trying out Tabletop Simulator, because there are a lot of really nifty tabletop and board games that you can play in that system. So we'll see. That was it for me.
All right, and as for me, let's see. I played Divinity Original Sin 2, played some Fortnite, some Neverwinter, Jurassic World Evolution I picked up on sale, I think a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And Ian Malcolm is in the game, but I'm not sure why. it's like he's encouraging you at points and then chastising you at other points for doing what he told you to do. So it's really kind of weird. I still haven't figured out his role in the game, but the game itself is actually kind of fun. It's like Sim Dinosaurs for all intents and purposes, so it's not bad. I played 14 hours of Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood. I've been playing it for the last week and a half. We released a video review on it, which is live now on the site on both Gamersledge.com and vidgamenews.com. It was not great. It wasn't
9 out of 10.
Yeah, no. The short answer is like it's an okay game. They set the expectations way wrong with their trailers. It looks like all you're going to be doing is being the giant Krynos form werewolf and hacking and slashing through everyone and everything like it's a Devil May Cry game, when in fact it's really Metal Gear Solid, and you have to sneak most of the time. And did you say wolf?
Because I said oof.
If you said wolf, I would have given you credits because
25 points.
Yeah.
That's not bad in and of itself, other than their stealth kill system is broken because they give you the means to stealth through different rooms, but then there are characters that you simply can't stealth kill, which means you have to fight out of that room. And they summon reinforcements, and you can break the doors that they come out of, but do you think that would close the door so they can't get in? No, it only takes off half the health of the new people coming through. Makes no sense in the world. Also, if I'm an evil corporation that knows I'm fighting werewolves, which that's the premise of this story, why would you build werewolf-shaped holes into your air vents on every facility you have, even at sea? One of Daniel's kids probably had the best quote that I actually used in the review. Dad, if you're invading this company and they all use guns, why are they leaving crossbow bolts out for you to find?
Fair.
Video games.
Video game logic.
So the whole company's role is to kill werewolves?
No, but they are opposed to the werewolves.
Okay, and they're not all just armed to the teeth with like werewolf killing bullets, or does that not exist?
So they are. Some of them do have silver bullets. A lot of them do not. And there is a mechanic.
Silver's not that expensive. Everybody should have them in this situation.
Listen, if I'm a giant, like 875-pound werewolf and I've just killed 300 men, why can't I pick up a frickin' gun and use it myself?
Well, because they don't have opposable thumbs.
They do when they're human.
They do when they're in Krynos form too, but you don't really need them. You're tearing through everything.
That's true.
Yep.
That and werewolves has opposable thumbs. I was lying, and you let me lie.
No,
I said they
Daniel
did.
fact-checked you.
No, he said when they're human.
No, I said
Mark
when
said
they're human.
when they're
Daniel
human.
said
Oh.
also when they're Krynos. I
said they have the thumbs when they're in Krynos war form as werewolves, but they don't need them because they tear through everything.
So, yeah, I ended up giving it a 5.5. Daniel gave it a 3.5.
I like a 3.8.
Yeah, something like that.
It was entertaining in part if it wasn't so repetitive, and I was very upset because of the fluff.
Yeah, they gave you like no fluff. I mean, and they made every wrong dialogue choice of instructive versus inclusive. It was always about telling the player something rather than letting you figure out anything or be a part of that world. It always kind of held you this far away. And really bad writing in terms of the storyline. I like I said, it's one of those games that like if I'm a kid receiving it as a present, or I got it as a present from somebody else, I wouldn't be like super upset with it. I'd still play through it. It could be somebody's guilty pleasure game, I'm sure. But if you're spending your own money on it, don't do that. Why would you do that? Don't do that. So, what I finally watched Crisis on Infinite Earth CW crossover.
No
Ooh,
way.
Yeah, it took me forever to find it all too.
now I have to sit there and try and remember it because I wanted to talk to you about it so bad.
That was like 15 years ago.
I
And
know.
nobody wanted to watch it, so like I forget everything that happened.
It's all Lexi's fault, my wife's fault, because she like gets on these kicks where she doesn't want to watch certain shows, and all of the CW shows have been that way lately for her. I mean, can I talk about that now, or is that still considered spoilers for somebody? All right, I'm just gonna say, hey, if you haven't watched Crisis on Infinite Earths, don't listen. Isn't it sad that they're all now on the same planet, and then half of them got canceled?
They finally brought them all together, and then now half the shows aren't there anymore. Yeah.
Yep. I was like, oh, that's how are they going to explain that? So weird. I mean, I guess they could just show up on that show at some point if they want to give the actors some work.
They did it with Constantine.
I know. I saw that.
I would not even scoff at that exact thought mark. They they did it with Constantine.
Well, and the best part about that whole crossover, Oliver Queen dying.
Wow. His show was already ending, man. You don't have to like rub salt in the wound.
It's like he wasn't Green Arrow, so I don't care. That
he was the CW version of Green Arrow. Like we ended up with Mustachio the Mustache Man as Superman. You can let this one go.
Yeah, but I'm not arguing about Mustachio either.
Glad I wasn't on the inhale for that one.
Things I also watched, WandaVision. I talked with Daniel about something that's niggling at the back of my brain that's bothering me, and he said he would be very upset if it turns out to be that case. And now that makes me think that it might actually be that case, because the end of this episode was almost like too good to be true in my mind. So we'll see. Also, probably the most important evening in the modern wrestling era happened on Wednesday night, as someone from New Japan showed up on AEW. So in one episode, you had people from Impact, NWA, New Japan, and AEW on one show, and Shaq. We had Shaq and Kenta on the same show. What is reality? I don't know. It's a big deal because basically every other company in the world is teaming up together, and WWE is running the worst storylines and the worst wrestling that they've had in decades. I mean, the wrestling can be good, but the storylines are horrible, and it's all run by an out of touch booker, so that's bad.
Who's running their booking now?
Vince.
Oh wow, is he really?
He's never not been.
I thought he handed it off.
No. I mean, on NXT, Hunter and Shawn Michaels are doing the booking, but on every other show, it's Vince. So, I also started watching The Voice Korea. Don't ask me why. I don't know.
I had an extra 15 minutes to fill up.
It's actually an hour and a half for the blind. So
I just need to cram random stuff into my life because I'm not busy enough.
Well, he gets 10 minutes for every 1 minute the rest of us get. So, he can do things like that.
Come talk to me when my scoreboard for the year looks like Joe's.
How much sleep do you actually get? Is it like 3 hours?
No, it's like 4 and 6.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere in there.
Not
depending.
bad.
All right, that makes sense.
What?
I don't know. I still buy it. I get an average of 6 hours of sleep a night, and I can't get that much crap in my day.
Mark watches it for the plot. So, let's see. I also started rewatching Shark Tank because I realized that I missed 9 seasons of it or something.
I have never liked that show.
Oh, I love that show.
Really?
I've tried
probably 4 or 5. I've tried more times with that show than I give more different shows. I like a lot of British shows. And so I thought I would really like it, and I tried giving it chances over the seasons. Even playing it in the background, I'm like, I just don't find this.
What's the premise of the show, Daniel?
Inventors bring a invention or upgrade to a product to a bunch of people that could afford to help them produce that product, both with resources and expertise. And they want to trade their idea for a percentage of their profits or their company.
So
And
thank you for being super thorough and explaining that. I was just making sure we were talking about the same show when you mentioned something about British TV, because I was really confused if we were talking about the same thing, and we are. But
Okay.
the reason why did you say British TV though? Just out of curiosity.
Is it not a British show?
No.
Oh, it was on BBC while I was watching it. That's funny. That's
So
really
is
funny.
Next Gen a lot. That is also not a British show.
Yeah.
Right, and I get that, but I also knew Next Generation wasn't a British show, and Shark Tank I started it on BBC, so when
Wait.
I saw it on other
Next
things,
Gen wasn't British?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Anyways,
Sorry.
he was Scottish actually, but I digress.
Nice.
No, Shark Tank's filmed in Vegas, dude. So, anyways,
I'm thinking Dragon's Den.
that's where I was going with it because that's also something I started watching this weekend.
I'm thinking-
How do you add new shows like that?
And Shark Tank Australia also.
Time compression. I'm telling
So-
you, it's the only possible answer.
So to be fair,
To be fair.
To be fair.
I do that only so we can do that now. Naomi and I are TV people, much like Mark and Lexi when they're in that group, and so we'll watch things. We'll sit down and watch 4 to 5 hours while we're working on other things in the background. So we'll watch TV, but also be doing. I'll be reading up on role playing if I'm running something coming up, or I will be typing up something for a friend because I'm editing like 4 different stories for somebody who wants to get into writing, or I'll do that stuff while watching something with her. And so we'll pick up. It frustrates my coworkers a lot because it will take them a significant portion of time to eat through a series. Not so much with us. So
Well, in that case, I watch a lot more shows than I claim because a show being on and me being casually aware of it while I'm doing other things to me does not count as watching a show.
But are you able to pick up what's going on in that show while doing other things?
No.
That would be the line.
Our problem is we're too one task at a time. Brain.
Well, yeah, I mean, like when your brother and sister are watching Criminal Minds, I'm generally not watching the. But I've seen that type of show often enough that I can only pay attention to every 30-second word, and I still know what's going on. But so I mean, there's some things to that. But
he just said your favorite shows are dumb. Is what he just said. That's what he said right there.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you got something that super repeatable, you don't have to pay nearly as much attention to it.
So, a good example for me would be The Chase. The one that has 3 seasons right now on Netflix. Go watch it, kids. It is a trivia show, and I love certain trivia shows depending on how they're represented. I've never been able to get into Jeopardy, but certain other trivia shows I absolutely love, and that's a show I had on in the background. But I'm also shouting out answers as I'm working on other stuff because I'm listening to that show and paying attention to that show. So it depends on what your. There are things there are skill sets I had to build in that framework for work and for stuff that I've done in the past. So that helps with this absorbing television and absorbing radio and reading through role-playing books and doing that stuff at the same time.
Yeah.
Although as I get older, I've
but
noted that it's not as easy.
Yeah, that's been my problem. I know I used to be able to do a lot more things at one time, and I can't as much anymore. But
I should also clarify that, like, for example, Shark Tank Australia and Dragon's Den, that stuff's in easily digestible chunks on YouTube. So it's like I'll watch one pitch from Dragon's Den, do something, and then come back for another pitch from that same episode, and then do something and come back for third pitch. So it's like, it's not. I'm not sitting and watching episodes straight necessarily.
He's
I am
not
for like
dining. You're not dining on a meal of television. You're snacking.
right, and Voice Korea, I am watching full episodes of, because that's got to be subbed and translated and stuff. You look very nice. You're welcome. But like, yeah, for most of that stuff that I can find on YouTube, I'll watch in snippets, and then I'll end up have watched like, 20 or 30 hours worth of something by the time I'm done.
Yeah, sometimes it'll take me forever for stuff like that. Like today, I had on the background while I was working, the My Pillow guy released a documentary.
Really?
I did.
Okay,
Because he said he was going to have a bunch of cybersecurity.
Where's the
No.
kick button?
Because he said he was going to have a bunch of cybersecurity experts on, and I had to hear what they had to say,
Oh,
and it was hilarious. Like it was really funny. Like I mean, and it was just bad.
Was it supposed to be funny?
No.
Oh.
sadly, no.
No, I'm pretty sure he was serious.
Oh.
So that's my list. Let's jump into the news, because there's a lot of it. And then I guess the other question is, do we want to have a WandaVision spoiler section towards the end of the show where we discuss the show up to this point, since it's the midpoint of the season?
I would honestly, I don't know. I would kind of say no, because it just went today. So if anybody's watching it hasn't seen it, I don't want to ruin their life by accident.
All right. Snake kills Dumbledore. All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So then the first thing is that a new Call of Duty is coming late in 2021. Activision confirmed today. That's it. It'll be coming to all the usual suspects.
Is that even news?
It is.
Is that?
Mm-hmm.
Is it really?
It may
part
not
that
be.
he skipped.
What?
The part he skipped is that Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 are not expected to come out this year. That was the more important part.
Oh, I didn't see that part. No, mine.
See, that's news.
That's not the same. That's not the same story, though.
Same company. Yeah, it was the part of the same announcement. It was part of the same.
Oh.
Yeah, like
No.
what you said was like, hey, taxes are due soon. like we know there's a Call of Duty coming out.
Okay, that's mine. Who's next? Who's got one?
I have
Well,
7. So when we come
go
around.
ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. You started. You're good.
Wait, we're
Okay.
supposed to prepare for this? Everybody's got stuff.
I don't
Here,
know.
let me send you one.
I
Dave.
forgot Dave's not been here for a little while.
What? There was homework.
We
me
report
send you
on
one.
gaming news.
And other interesting items. There was a announcement just a couple days ago that the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake that nobody remembered was being made has been delayed indefinitely.
Nice.
So, in case you were one of the few 3 people that actually remembered that was out there, it's not canceled, but delayed indefinitely. So.
All right, who's got another one?
Matt did remind me I do have a news item that is
Go ahead.
that is very much me. Lego Ideas okayed the Sonic Lego set officially to come out. So they're going to make a modular Sonic set that you can put together like a little play set
Gotta move
with
fast.
Sonic the Hedgehog, which is pretty cool because I have the same birthday as Sonic. Did you guys know that? Did I ever tell you that? Sonic and I have the same
Explains
birthday.
So much. It explains so much.
Yes.
Sonic and I have the same birthday.
Hello,
That's
you
it.
blacksmith.
Cool.
Welcome to the stream, and thanks for the likes. Good to see you this evening. That's weird that you have Sonic's birthday. Are you?
Yes.
Are you horrible CGI
Yes.
that has been made better?
That has been made flesh.
Disturbing.
Ugh.
Uh,
Still haven't seen that movie.
I
haven't
have not,
seen it yet.
I haven't either. Yeah,
I've honestly heard it's really fun.
I wouldn't mind watching it just to. I mean, it can't be as bad as the later Mortal Kombat movies. So there's that.
The
Um,
first one was fun.
no,
Wait,
the
they're
first
doing
one was
another-
great. I said the later Mortal Kombat movies, and yes, the other one is coming out soon.
Yeah, that's like actually going to be here like really soon. I didn't
And
even
I'm
remember hearing
quite
them
looking forward to it. Yeah. No, they've actually released a couple fatalities from the movie. So yeah,
Really?
yeah.
So, and that's going to be going on HBO Max. Like we're going to be able to see that like right away. I think.
Yes,
Yes,
you are correct.
Yes, it is.
Of course, I'm correct. How
Yes.
dare you?
Episode 5 of WandaVision is very, very good.
Dave.
Next, let's see. One is from me. The main
Daniel
man
go?
between what?
Did Daniel go?
Go, Daniel.
Okay, Fantasy Flight Games, which is the same people that have handfuls and handfuls of living card games and board games, have released a preview of their X-Men Mutant Insurrection game that's outcoming. And so one of the things that with Fantasy Flight Games, it's going to have a lot of unique dice that you can't find or replace anywhere other than the $30 set that they offer, and a whole bunch of cards. They use cards and tokens and dice for everything. Not saying that they don't produce really good stuff, especially if you're the type of player that likes really complicated card games and board games. They do that in spades. The preview looks pretty good. You'll play as a couple different, mainly the base X-Men, as you fly around in the Blackbird, taking diverse missions in a fast-paced, dice-driven card game. Whether you're flying solo or fighting alongside your friends, saving the world can be a tricky task. Namely, the important part of the information there, I thought, was flying solo. Because many of these companies have started to build into rule sets an ability to play a game by yourself. So it's interesting that this is going to be one of those.
That makes so much sense in a card game. You could play solitaire.
Yep.
That is, I'm like really interested in that now since you said that.
I've been pretty happy. A lot of games obviously are built so that you have people that you're playing with, but I've been really happy with some of the offerings of some of these companies that the game isn't traditionally a multiplayer game, but yeah, they have it so that you can play essentially solitaire.
Yeah, because some of us like don't have friends or the ability to actually make friends. So
Right.
for someone hypothetically like that, somebody like that may be interested in something like that. How does that actually like work as like a solitaire kind of thing? Like, is that? Have you ever played that?
I have not played this one. It's not quite out yet. But I have played solitaire-like games like this before, and usually it's a modified version of the rules, so that either you're playing multiple characters, or you're playing a singular character and the threat is adjusted. Where you and oftentimes, especially with Fantasy Flight, loves to produce items to help their single-player games that you can't find anywhere else. Like player mats that have neat little boxes that tell you where to put all your cards and tokens and everything if you're playing by yourself, so that you know where the enemies are coming from, and then you play through with your cards and with your tokens, and you move your guys. And
Matt, I think, can talk a little bit to that because you guys have Legendary, don't you?
Yeah.
Legendary is built like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just the Legendary is a lot like that. I was just thinking about we have a couple of those, and you could pretty easily convert the rules to a single player experience. Probably not as much fun, but you could.
But yeah, it's super neat. There is a board game that that Mark and I are looking into, called Kingdom Death Monster, that has a single player variant, but the only thing that makes it single player is that the single person plays 4 characters, because you have to play 4 characters. And so it just makes it more that the one person has to track. But yeah, that was my That was mine.
So it's more old school JRPG where you have to control all the characters instead of a modern one where you only control the main character and AI controls all the other ones, or it's a multiplayer thing like Divinity where you have different people controlling all the characters.
But as a board game, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, as a board game. You Blacksmith, thanks for all the likes. You are a rock star. Appreciate it. The main man behind PlayStation VR masterpieces Tetris Effect and Res Infinite has confirmed he is now working on a new PlayStation 5 game at Enhanced Games, and apparently we know it's going to be following the same kind of experience vein, but we don't know exactly what it is yet. However, he has said, Tetsuya Mizuguchi has said that he's excited to work with the 3D audio and the DualSense's haptic feedback. He said that in particular, Area X in Res Infinite was developed as a prologue to the game that's coming up.
Oh, I'm excited.
I'm sorry that you weren't inhaling alcohol at that point.
Yeah, seriously, that could have killed me. First of all, how did I not know about this? I am really slipping this week.
Well, that's why you tune into Gamersledge podcast, so you can find out all the best gaming news for the last 2 weeks.
It is true. If it wasn't for you, I actually owe you one, Mark. Mark this day.
Two technically.
Two?
Yeah, Wednesday night was the other one.
That was different. That was... But that's huge. Like, first of all, oh man, like that guy he makes really great stuff that like really clicks with me. Like I really like Luminez on the Switch, like that whole re-release of that and everything was just like awesome. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to
that. Who's next?
I think it's me. Speaking of movies that we kind of forgot existed, there's a Resident Evil reboot movie going on, and that got a date for a release. Supposed to be in theaters in September, assuming theaters
are open.
And September are things that go together. So yeah, totally forgot that this was a thing, and I don't know why, because there's actually like people I know and moderately enjoy involved in this movie, and it just totally kind of left my brain that this was happening. So
who's involved in it?
Well, the actors in it, I honestly don't know who's directing it.
No. What actors are involved?
Hannah John Kamen, who was Ghost in Ant-Man 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp. She was also one of the main characters in Killjoys and
Bad Guy Ready Player One.
Yeah, Bad Guy Ready Player One. There's a couple. She's got a bunch. She shows up in just the dangest places. I try and remember the first thing I ever saw her in, and I can't remember, but I really enjoy her. Robbie Amell, the Stephen Amell's cousin, who was the original Firestorm in the TV universe, isn't it? As Chris Redfield.
I can see that.
Tom Hopper from the Umbrella Academy as Wesker. And I feel like I know the name Neil McDonough, but I can't think of what he's from. But anyway, so yeah, I'm interested. It's going back to the beginning, so it's Claire, Chris, Jill, Wesker, Leon. They're all in it. So we got a Resident Evil 1-2-ish type setting. It's supposed to be very similar to those two games in setting and style. So.
And it's a movie, not a series.
It is a movie. There is a Netflix series that's supposed to follow the story of Albert Wesker's kids. That's coming, but yeah, I don't know.
We should probably piggyback on here that Resident Evil Village has a demo on PlayStation because that has come out in the last 2 weeks.
Has that been since we? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it has been since the last time we did the podcast.
Okay, so yeah, Maiden. I played that. It's just an experience thing. I mean, it's kind of boring. There's probably stuff buried in it that I didn't take the time to try to find, but that and I am like the one. Yeah, it's enough. It's enough to show you that it's going to be more Resident Evil 7, which has got me sold, right? But in and of itself, there's no combat. There's very few items to collect. There's no enemies to deal with.
Oh,
So
great fun.
you're just exploring this environment. So the audio in it is creepy as heck. I mean, the audio is downright just unsettling. So I mean, that was cool. And then you find 10-foot tall vampire lady, and she's not really a vampire lady. She's clearly a Titan class bioweapon that's super intelligent and capable. But apparently for some reason she's a 10-foot tall vampire lady.
But she does have more clothes on than a Titan.
That's why there's all those Game of Thrones jokes.
Yes.
She's 10 feet tall.
Yes.
Now I get it.
Yes. And then the gothy little regular sized ones that are her daughters or whatever. But yeah, I'm still excited for it because it clearly is like Resident Evil 7, which I loved. So I'm still excited for it, even though the demo leaves much to be desired, in my opinion.
All right, who's next? All
Dave,
right.
do you have anything?
I think you should start picking people.
There was there was a physical release of the Scott Pilgrim game that came out, pre-orders for that one place that I can't remember right now.
Limited Run Games.
Limited Run Games. Thank you.
What
would I do without you people?
That would be credit if you hadn't said the exact same one the last time you were on.
Did I?
Yeah.
Well, he said that it came out. He didn't say anything about the
it
physical
is
copy, did he?
Very exciting.
Yes.
I'm extremely excited. There's pins.
And that should make you excited, Mark.
Yeah, no,
There's
I like pins. I like pins.
Yeah, there's pins, and the pins are cool, and you can order them as well. I don't think I didn't talk about the pins last time.
You did not talk about the pins.
No, you did not.
The pins
The pins are new. The game, not so much.
I saved that one at the last minute. Oh.
Came in just under the buzzer.
I'm not going to get fired this week. Maybe next week.
That's right. I'll keep paying you. That's fine.
Yeah, I'll be on the payroll. I'll be on the payroll for one more week.
Well, Gearbox Entertainment is being acquired.
You forgot Daniel again.
I didn't forget him. He's only got 7. I've got like 12 or 15.
Do it. Do it.
So
I'll talk slowly.
Gearbox Entertainment is being acquired by the parent company, which also happens. It's called the Embracer Group. They also happen to be the holding company for THQ Nordic, which is what's left of THQ, and
owns like 10 billion properties.
Yeah, and on top of that, they also own Asper Media, which is the publisher of Call of Duty and Star Wars franchises to Apple's Mac platform.
He said Duty.
Sorry. Oh boy. So yeah, it's 1.3 billion. So that's pretty good. They are keeping Randy Pitchford as the CEO, which is kind of surprising, but I guess he hasn't done enough stuff for them to kick him out yet. So yeah, that's about it for that. Daniel?
So, people that are fans of Smash Up, which is huge in this family, it is a card game that to play it, you have a whole bunch of different factions, and you select 2 factions, shuffle them together, and then you play this game together where you're trying to bust bases with your minions and your powers. And the interesting part, the best part about this game, is that the factions come from everything. The factions come from robots or aliens or wizards or time travelers, steampunk, pirates, and then they have pseudo ones that come from essentially Power Rangers and essentially Star Trek and essentially Star Wars. They're not actually called that. It's called like Star Knights instead of Jedi for Star Wars. But you get my point. And they have already like 40 different factions that you can play with that you buy in expansion packs or whatever. They also, a couple of years ago, worked a deal out with Munchkin, so that they have a Munchkin expansion that you can shuffle in and play essentially a version of Munchkin in Smash Up using Smash Up's rules with all of the other stuff Smash Up is known for. Now, that's not the news. The news is they have made their first licensed deal for Marvel. So there's a Smash Up Marvel happening that will have a whole bunch of factions. I'm assuming Shield, Hydra, that kind of stuff that you will be able to use the same way. So if you're a fan of Smash Up, just like maybe you were a fan of 5 Minute Dungeon, which now has a pretty excellent Marvel version, or Villainous, which originally was a Disney Villains, but now has a Marvel version where you can play as Thanos and the like. This
Oh,
also
when
has
that
a
Wait,
Marvel Smash Up.
what now?
Yeah, what? Yeah, back up a second.
Oh,
Back up.
I apologize. I forget that you guys don't talk about anything other than video games in this podcast without me.
No. I have the Disney Villains game.
Yeah,
I didn't know they
so
did a Marvel version.
Marvel Villainous. If you give me, actually, you know what? I will look it up, and when you come back to me, I'll have more details on it. So give me a
Fantastic.
little bit to look it up.
You're the best.
Hi, Cynthia. Welcome to the stream, and thank you for welcoming back Blacksmith. You rock. And thank you for the capturing a moment. That's awesome. Yeah, I don't know about Smash Up either, Drugadan. That's why I was also wanting him to back up a minute and explain that. I may have to look into it.
I have no problem doing that when we come circle back around.
Okay, sounds
I'll
good.
get into more details.
Matt, do you have one?
Yeah, I do. Actually, my next one was a question for Daniel, but you guys got him researching something else, so I'll switch over to a different one.
No, do it. You're fine.
No. Finish that one out. This is. We'll get this later.
And you're the only one that works. Let's just you do what you got to do. I'll get back to you.
Final Fantasy XIV had a reveal event today, and they revealed their Endwalker expansion, which will be coming out in the fall of 2021 with new stories, raids, all the standard MMO stuff. And as always, is required 2 new classes. One of which was revealed is the Sage. It's a new healer class, but it also has a pretty interesting weapon system. At least from what I'm looking at, it looks like an interesting weapon system, but I don't play Final Fantasy XIV, so maybe it's really not all that interesting at all. But check it out if you are. The other class is a melee class that they have not yet identified what it is. So, yeah, I mean, they don't do a lot of expansions for this game. This is only expansion 4, I think. But it's still doing well. Mitchell plays quite a bit, and yeah. So that was the news article on that one.
The GoldenEye. Oh, you have something? Go for it.
Yes, I have something. I've been looking. Okay, so Netflix has posted a full trailer for they're creating a Pacific Rim anime show. So it's called Pacific Rim The Black.
I'm all for this.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
it looks like
that's the type of thing you would expect to be an anime to begin with.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
so it's and it looks like it's made by the same studio that did the Godzilla trilogy, which not a huge fan of that Godzilla anime trilogy, but the style is interesting. It's anime 3D computer rendered stuff. So look, I saw the trailer. I only saw it. I didn't hear it, so I haven't listened to it yet. But yeah, it looks like it's an alternate timeline from the movie verse. So it's kind of got free roam to do whatever it wants. But yeah, it looked pretty interesting. I'm stoked for
I'm
it.
sure Pacific Rim is really concerned about continuity.
Yeah, they proved that
That's-
after the second movie.
That was one thing that really screamed about that movie is just like,
Oh,
we
shush
care about continuity in this universe.
Shush you.
They were sorry.
Anyways, GoldenEye 007 had an Xbox remaster that was never quite it's mostly completed. However, it has leaked to the internet and is playable now. So if you really want to, you can play GoldenEye 007 in full HD as through Xbox emulation.
I do love how they made that without like actually having any right to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just like, "We're doing this," and they're like, "Oh, what do you mean we can't do it?" And they're like, "Well, we already did it."
Yep.
So
Well, the
that's
modder.
fantastic.
I mean, the funny part is that the modders took the file and actually modified it further to give it quality of life upgrades. They're already. I think I already saw a leak that says the modders had figured out how to use the game local multiplayer mode, which is how you used to network your Xboxes together on LAN. They've modded that emulation so that you can play multiplayer online now.
You got to be kidding me! That was
No.
quick.
Yeah, it didn't take them very long. So,
Yeah, because I was reading about it today, and like they didn't have the multiplayer set.
yeah, I'm
It
pretty
was
sure
just
I
like you
saw
can play
that.
through the single portion of the game, and that's it.
Yep, I'm pretty
That's
sure I
amazing.
saw that. Yeah, it's crazy.
God, they're so quick. They're so quick with that stuff.
Super quick. All right, back to Daniel.
Howdy, folks. Okay, so I'm going to start off with Smash Up. Normally, the game itself originally comes with, I think, 8 to 10 expansions, but if you are an addict, they make a big box so that you can have all of your...
Oh, that's
ending.
Alright, so that being the case, let me switch real quick.
No, we were laughing, so we never got to see the box.
Oh.
that really hurt my head right now. I'm just saying.
Now he's looking at a cooling fan.
Okay. So this is the box right there, the big geeky box. This one actually comes with Geeks as a faction that has all of the folks from Will Wheaton's group. Felicia Day and the like as playable characters that you can play.
No.
There's 2 different kinds of cards. There are minions and actions. Every turn you can play a minion and you can play an action unless you have cards that say you can play more than one of any of those. The reason I was switching over to the cooling fan, as was put, let me wait for this to get all the way through and continue talking so that it still does that. These are all factions. So there are lots and lots and lots and lots of options. If Marvel continues, if this licensing agreement with Smash Up continues, I imagine that they have, like I was saying, they have Game of Thrones and dragons and sharks and tornadoes so that you can play Sharknadoes. They have ghosts and bear cavalry. They've got a whole bunch of stuff in there. Pretty much like thousands of variations. Specifically, I'm not allowed to play with a handful of them. Wizards, zombies, time travelers, and robots. My family doesn't let me play with them because it is the only system so far I've been able to figure out combos with and completely decimate everyone in my family.
So,
Nice.
what, like, from 0 to 10, how difficult would you rate the rule set?
2.
Oh, great. So it's like a 5-minute dungeon.
It's like a 5-minute dungeon, and I mean there is a rule book. You have to read the rule book, and then there's a little bit of math involved because the premise the premise behind the game is your minions have different power, like they have a power number in the corner, and depending on how much power is at that base, it can only withstand a certain amount before it breaks, and then as it breaks, you deal out points. So maybe it's like a 3, but considering I'm putting like games that I only play with one friend that is super super complicated as a 10. This is really simple. My 10-year-old plays it and has a blast.
So you're bringing that, right?
I am.
Okay,
yes,
good.
I am. This and a couple other games, yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, Smash Up is there. Marvel is coming. We were talking Villainous. So Disney Villainous came out a while ago and has had some expansions. And essentially, you play as a villain. Each villain has their own strategy and.
It's Disney Villains, right?
What did I say?
Yes.
Villainess.
No, it's Villainous. Villainous.
Oh, Villainous. Got it. I thought it was Disney Villains. Weird. I must have never looked at the box that I bought.
I thought it was Disney Villains too, and I own it.
No.
Yeah, me
But
too.
anyway, so there's
I don't know
expansions.
that.
So it
I
starts off
haven't
with a handful of bad guys you can play as.
been able to
Each
play
one
it.
has its own tactic or
I don't know
strategy that
friends.
you use to win. So as in the Disney version, if I was playing King John, or not King John, is it King John? Yeah. Okay, if I was playing King John and someone else is playing Maleficent, there are two completely different ways to win, and so you actually have to kind of play against the other villains in order to figure out your own way to win and make it happen. So now that I've explained villainous, this is Marvel villainous. You can play as Thanos, Hela, Ultron, Taskmaster, and Killmonger. And it's about 2 to 4 players, or 2 to 5 players, and um, it's pretty much the same way you would play the Disney version, except these are Marvel villains. There are rumors of additional ones coming out, but I haven't heard any rumblings yet.
So with how the rules work, is it possible for two villains to win in a game?
I don't think so. Is there?
Because it's turned, I have seen it happen, but it was a fluke. Um, because of the way that most of the villains have to win, and it being turn-based, um, if you do a certain thing and it's your turn, you win. But there was a villain that has to have a certain amount of gold, and while this person was winning, the other person played an action that allowed them to gain gold at the same time. So it was kind of a fluke, but yeah, essentially
So not
because
likely, but possible.
yeah, because there's so many different ways to win, and each one is very specific to that character. And to be fair,
To be fair,
I also played as Ursula, and playing as Ursula with the things that you had to do to win, it actually felt like I was playing through The Little Mermaid. It was very creative. They've done a very good job of making the tactics and strategy for that villain feel like the world that villain is from. And I have not played Marvel Villainous, but um, I want to, because if they've put half as much work in, it's going to be excellent.
I call dibs on Thanos now.
It's
yeah,
only
like
$35, so it's about half as much as most other board games right now.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah,
I
okay,
have
I
to.
have more other things, but you can come back around to me. Oh wait,
Okay.
no, Matt, you had a question.
Oh, well, my question just was, I don't know if this has been like a bum rush on advertising or what, but I have been getting hit up with ads constantly for a game called Here to Slay. It's by the same people that do Unstable Unicorns, and it looks pretty dang fun and pretty dang simple. So again, back in when we get to the point when people can come over, this is like, if you are remotely interested in like RPG type fantasy things and you're willing to sit down around a table and play a game for 45 minutes, this is something you could do. Usually my gotcha game is usually zombie dice or something of that ilk, because it takes, it's easy to understand in instance and you get people tied into it. I actually got my folks playing zombies, the actual tile game, by starting them on zombie dice.
Nice.
I
So
love that zombies game too.
yeah.
It's good.
So I was just wondering if you'd heard anything about it, if you knew anything about it. It looks like it's relatively new. It's got one expansion, but
So it is. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It's supposed to be fairly simple, just like the rest of their games. Unstable unicorns, um, unstable kittens, and then um, is it unstable unicorns? There's a unicorn
We're talking about
version.
exploding kittens.
Exploding kittens, unstable unicorns. Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
I was going to say because I was just playing exploding
Yeah,
kittens with my son.
that same vein. But this is more of like a role playing with the cute little animals. Center points where you play as characters. I have to say, I am both happy and kind of sad that some of the larger companies like Walmart and Target have started to pick up board games and card games, and this one I actually saw in Target. for a relatively reasonable price. I think it was $5 more than you would get it on Amazon. So either buy from one giant chain or the other giant chain that probably get fed by the same head somewhere. But yeah,
Well,
it's been on my list.
It's $20, and it, according to Board Game Geek, it says that it's competitive role-playing fantasy strategy card game that's about assembling a party of heroes and slaying monsters. You'll
That sounds
assemble
like fun.
a full party of heroes. The first person to successfully slay 3 monsters or build a full party with 6 classes wins the game.
Nice.
And it goes for $20.
Yeah, and I
Which-
think the
which is not
expansion is like another 6 or 7. So yeah.
Marvel Villainous is on sale on Amazon right now.
How
I
much?
didn't know if I was allowed to say that. So
Sure you are.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's on.
We're not
it's on
giving
sale
we're
for
not
Villain.
giving links. I'm just buying it because I'm inebriated enough that I just don't care.
So Dave,
There
how
you
do you
go.
feel about buying people PlayStation?
Yeah. Let's
I'm
test the
really-
waters there.
Yeah, I'm not that. We're not.
Marvel Villainous.
He's not
9
drunk
out of
enough.
10.
Again.
Buy right now.
Yeah, we
That's
can
amazing.
go
Not a
Marvel
PlayStation.
villains. Yeah, we can go Marvel villains for somebody,
Well,
but we're not doing.
No,
Daniel has
so-
no idea. Daniel has no idea what we're talking about.
Yes,
Uh,
one time.
several years ago,
Yes,
Dave was so drunk he bought Turo a PlayStation 4
yes, outright.
outright. He was just like,
Yeah.
"I love you, man, and you're so funny, and I'm gonna buy you a PlayStation 4."
And it actually happened.
And then he bought Turo a PlayStation 4, and do you know what happened to that PlayStation 4?
It sat there and was
It
never used.
sat there and was never used.
Yes.
That's sad.
Oof.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I can't say much. You guys got together and got me a Vita when I was in a really kind of crappy situation in life. So I can't say much. You guys came together and helped me for the same reason. That's
No, actually, that was actually much more.
That was a group effort. That was
Yeah, that was like
Yeah.
a real. That
No.
was a real thing because we love you. You know?
Yeah.
This was just like I was just drunk and I bought somebody a PlayStation 4. There was a concerted effort. It was like Daniel deserves some happiness, and I'm just like, dude, Vita is happiness. So everybody's like, yeah, that's a good idea, and I'm like, yeah, of course it's a good idea because the Vita is awesome. So like, we all got you a Vita. That was like, there was like thought into that. This is just like, woo, Amazon, what's your address? Okay. Yeah, that's
We've been
And this
trying
was-
him to buy more ever since, but it never happens.
Oh, that's so sad.
We dialed back. That was a very dark time when I was.
Yeah, that was the dark ages for.
Yeah, that was literally during the bad. I think that might have been during the bad month.
That
No,
was-
it had to be
was.
after.
It was right around the same time.
Yeah, it had to be soon after that, where I was just like, I just did not care.
I'm pretty sure there was about 3/4 of a bottle of Tullamore Dew that disappeared that evening. So
Yeah, that was a bad one. I've never since been that ever.
Okay,
Well, yeehaw.
love you.
all right, sorry, derailed.
All right, so back to the
Happy
news.
to have you.
Matt, what was your next one, Matt?
My next one is, I think the last time we talked, all we had was a teaser image and some tweets about a new Marvel event coming up called Heroes Reborn. And the universe's eyes rolled because Heroes Reborn is not remembered terribly fondly. Still better than the Clone Saga, but that gave us the image of Captain America that everyone loves, whereas body proportions are completely unreasonable.
Wait, wasn't Heroes Reborn the female Captain America with the unreasonable body proportions?
No, it started with the male.
Oh, okay.
She was in there, but that
Okay.
was later. The initial like issue 1, with the head that's like back.
Right? No, it's
Because,
standard Rob Liefeld. Got
Yeah,
I
it.
was
like
going to say, was
that's
it drawn by Liefeld?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was,
all
it
the
was.
covers were drawn by Liefeld, and nobody's body proportions are anything even close to right.
Which,
but-
to be fair,
To be
be
fair,
on a quick tangent, most people don't understand this, but if that hadn't happened, Marvel would have gone bankrupt. Because
Guess what had to happen?
if Heroes Reborn hadn't happened, Marvel would have gone bankrupt. What had happened was they were getting close to insolvency, and Image got together and said, we will pay you a bunch of money to take over the most popular books for a year and let us do the storylines and let us do the artwork and everything. We have full creative control for 1 year. And they said that's fine for all properties except the X-Men, because the X-Men were their highest selling book at that time.
And Spider-Man. Spider-Man didn't go either.
That's right. Spider-Man did not go also. And so Marvel agreed to it, and Liefeld was the premier artist at Image at the time, which is how he ended up.
Which is hilarious.
Well, it is, but I mean, they were all the comics artists.
So the history of Marvel Comics, it's very important to the storyline of Marvel Comics.
Yeah, no, not at all.
No.
Nobody
so
cares
basically,
about
if you don't know what happened, what had happened was
confession time. I actually liked Shatterstar back in the day.
Yeah, we knew that about you.
Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah.
I don't know. That seems like pretty damning information.
Yeah,
I didn't know why. I mean, I figure you pattern your life off Mojo, so it's good.
Oh
man.
Oh, that hurts.
We're throwing now.
But I mean, I know it's true, but it hurts just to hear it out loud.
All right, so let me get. So the original Heroes Reborn, the Marvel Universe was fighting. Charles Xavier's alternate personality, whose name escapes me.
Strife.
It was Onslaught.
Onslaught. And then and everybody was going to die, but instead Franklin Richards unknowingly crammed everybody into his little bouncy ball and made a new universe because he could do that kind of stuff. So eventually everybody came back and mostly forgot about that. And now
it's amazing that company still exists. Just let's be honest.
Yeah. So anyway, so what their new event is being written by Jason Aaron. So you got me there. Okay. I'm always good to give it that. And then Ed McGuinness is doing the art for the main book. So you got me there. So now I'm kind of bought in on this.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it's set up as kind of an Elseworlds type event where the Avengers never formed.
Oh.
So Tony Stark, Peter Parker, Carol Danvers, a lot of these characters are alive and exist, but are not the characters that we know from the main 616 universe. Instead of the Avengers, here's where we might get you in this, Mark. Squadron Supreme is the hero group of the Marvel Universe. Blade is the only character that seems to know something's not right. He's the only one that remembers the 616. And that's kind of, they've been building him up. Aaron's been building Blade up in the Avengers, so this makes sense.
Well, I mean, he was the Sorcerer Supreme for a hot minute, was he not?
Who hasn't been in the last 10 years?
No, like recently. Like in the I'm pretty sure that Doctor Strange imparted, they all switched powers or something, and he got the Sorcerer Supreme mantle, I thought.
I thought it was right during that time where they were doing Vampire Everything.
Might have been.
I thought it was along that storyline.
It could have been. I don't recall that, but I read too many damn comics, so it's possible. Which also, I found that, I've lost the ability to remember everything that I watch and read, but it's kind of enjoyable because then when they do a callback to it or something, like, oh yeah, I remember that now. That was awesome. And then I'm like a kid all over again. But I totally forgot that Jimmy Woo had been introduced into the Marvel Universe before WandaVision. So yeah,
that's sad,
dude.
I remember about this much of that movie for some reason. I don't know.
Dude,
why.
Ant-Man. Dude, I love the Ant-Man movie.
Keegan, make off headset for like 22 seconds.
Okay.
The biggest spoiler for this season, for this episode, which I do not mind talking about, is Darcy finally got her coffee.
Yeah.
And either they actually had something in those cups, or they were doing a damn good job of mimicking it.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. You're good.
Come on. Good.
Because
you're good.
You didn't get to your 22 seconds.
That's all right. I didn't need that
Or
long. I was
or
just
faster.
buffering in case. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so it's all about, what's going on, who's going to be what. They've announced some characters, like a lot of the new characters are in it. So you've got Sam Alexander, who's the current Nova, Miles Morales, who's one of the Spider Peoples, and Kamala Khan, who is the current Ms. Marvel. But they're different. They're still superheroes, but they're different versions of themselves. So, like, Sam Alexander is working with Dr. Spectrum as Kid Spectrum instead of being a Nova. Miles didn't study under Peter because Peter's not Spider-Man. He studied under Falcon. So he's the new, what was the Falcon sidekick? I forget. Nighthawk. No, not Nighthawk.
Red Wing.
Yeah. So he's the new version of that, and so it's going to be interesting just to see what they do with everything, and it'll be all wiped out and it won't matter again ever. But this is actually looking like an interesting event. So I'm actually kind of excited about it now because they got good talent on it, and it looks like they're doing really interesting things with it. So there's at least 2 books that we know of. There's going to be the actual Heroes Reborn book, and then Heroes Reborn Young Squadron instead of Young Avengers.
There are 2 movies, a TV show, and a documentary about the GameStop stock situation currently in the works.
Nice.
I don't need to go further into this. Just the fact that it's happening is ridiculous. Sales, or the stock, is down like by 50% from its high.
Can we talk about how I was right all along about everything I said? Everything I said was true.
About which?
What was everything?
I wasn't talking to any of you about this. I was talking to somebody else about this.
That's not helpful. We can't then confirm. We can't confirm that you were right if we weren't involved in the conversation in the first place.
On day one, I was saying this is not all retail investors. I was
no.
I was like, this is institutional, trading algorithm investors are in on this. I was like, and that's what's driving it. It's not retail. And they literally just came out today with some stats from, was it JP Morgan? And it wasn't even on the top 10 of highest traded retail stocks in their systems or anything like that. There was buzz driven, by retail, but the heavy movement was likely caused by institutional investors that were riding that wave. As somebody who used to work at a trading firm, this is the kind of stuff that they would latch on to is something in volatility. They can make money in the up market. They can make money in a down market. The only thing that's key is they need to have volatility to actually make money. And that's how trading firms operate.
Well, and I know we covered, I'm almost positive we covered this on the last podcast in terms of that it was happening. Mm-hmm. I believe it was happening 2 weeks ago, was it not?
I think so.
I think we did.
We mentioned it. I don't know how much we knew at that point.
What we didn't mention because it happened between now and then, is if you aren't familiar with basically what happened, a subreddit banded together because there were a couple big hedge funds short stocking GameStop. Mm-hmm. Short sailing GameStop, betting that it would reduce in price because it's never been a great stock in the first place. But what they did is they all used day trading apps like Robinhood to buy hundreds of shares of stock, and the market noticed and started buying into it as well, therefore causing a false uplift in the stock. Except that they kept doing it, so the lift kept going higher and higher, and short stocks, if the farther you get away from your sale target, you are actually not just losing money, but you have to pay the difference. And so they were basically
short selling. You are technically borrowing the stock, selling it right away, and then pocketing the difference as you're betting that it's going to go down. So what you're doing is you're borrowing the stock right away and then selling it right away. So say it's at $10. You're selling it at $10. You're betting that it's going to go to $5. So when the time comes that you have to return that stock, you're buying it at $5. you're pocketing $5 move in difference.
Right, the spread.
You understand?
Yep.
So that's how short selling works.
And what they didn't cover is
Right.
there were actually a bunch of other stock portfolios that had GameStop in their portfolios because they were, although they weren't the greatest stock in terms of value per share, they were fairly stable. And so while those two or three large hedge funds that they went after lost billions of dollars and eventually had to get out of the stock, there were 10 other hedge funds that made $16.4 billion on the rise.
Yes.
So
Damn.
it's like you cut off somebody's nose to spite their face for this group, but then you also really help this group over here, and nobody's talking about that group. They're only talking about the people that lost money.
Well, the thing is, because now, like, say, the originators of it are actually being investigated because they are essentially, and this was one of the things that I said from the beginning, I was like, essentially, this is an orchestrated pump and dump.
Mm-hmm.
And is everybody familiar with the pump and dump?
Well, the difference though is they're not dumping the stock; they're holding on to it. But
some people,
right.
So you convinced a lot of people to hold the line is the thing they're going. But I have a feeling that you're going to find that some of the organizers of it were not holding the line and pocketed a lot of money in the process.
There were quite a few millionaires made by this.
Yeah, so that's kind of what happens in this thing, and that's what I said from the start. I was like, this is all great and all, like, yes, there's people like, trying to sticking it to the hedge fund guys, which is all fine and good because they're scumbags. I was like, but at the same time, there's going to be a lot of normal people who are going to lose their shirts on this. And that's exactly what happened. And I didn't actually want that to happen because I don't want to see normal people, lose their, shirts over this.
Or their life savings.
Right. But it's exactly what was going to happen because that is what happens in this kind of stuff. You don't get to, just take money from, billionaires and expect to get away with it. And that's also not the way the stock market works. Like, things that go up come down. So, yeah, I was really kind of like, not happy to be right, but I did call
it. Daniel, what do you got?
All right, so I'm going to put two back to back. So especially for GMs who are that have younger kids that really want to get into role playing with their families, there is a playtest starting soon for the Tales of Xadia. It's Xadia, the Dragon Prince RPG. This is based on the Dragon Prince popular Netflix show and books and comic books of the same name. And there's a playtest for the for it to debut in about 4 days. It's going to be free to access the playtest. You just have to sign up for the newsletter at talesofxadia.com and hopefully get selected. But the reviews that I've seen and some of the developer notes point to it being very similar to the TV show, more so than the books, although they have done a pretty good job of lining them up, I'm told. My youngest absolutely loves the series and the books, so this will probably be on my shopping list. Tied to that, my youngest just came and slammed down this, which is the novel, because you heard me talking. Also, A Dragon's Bounty, which is the Tales of Equestria starter set for the My Little Pony role-playing game, is currently on sale at Riverhorse. Riverhorse is the production company that made the My Little Pony role-playing game. It is on sale for just over $6, and it's fairly good. I've read through it, and it is if your kids are a fan of My Little Pony, it is a definite good purchase. The starter set has character examples, challenges and the like. And the role playing game, the way it's written up, is very similar to the new cartoon, very popular My Little Pony cartoon and movies. So definitely go ahead and get in on that if it's up your alley. And those are the two that I had for that. I still have some more, but that's it for those two.
It's funny. My kid found My Little Pony and absolutely like loves it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is just kind of like, you know, funny because I'm sitting there watching and all of a sudden I'm like, is that Weird Al on the episode? Is that Patton Oswalt on the episode? Like, there's like a lot of heavy hitters that got involved in that show.
Q, the actor who plays Q,
John
Delancey.
John Delancey
I said it first.
plays a major character.
I'm a bigger Q fan than Mark. I'm a bigger Q fan than Mark. That's all that matters.
You're a bigger cue ball than Mark.
At 2, doesn't matter.
Yeah, but your cue ball is just one of the reasons I appreciate you.
That's right.
Is that why he appreciates me?
David's hot. I regret nothing.
Okay, so
go ahead, Matt.
One of the big formal announcements that we haven't hit yet is we all knew that the Mass Effect Legendary Edition was coming, which is the remastered versions of Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, but we didn't know a date until now. Legendary Edition is going to drop on May 14th, will include graphical enhancements, some redos of things like the vehicle play from the first game, which is kind of a notorious thing, and also including more recently an announcement that there will be a lot less cameras focusing on Miranda's posterior in Mass Effect 2.
And that they're fixing the FemShep model so she doesn't look jank.
Yeah, and doesn't lay there, spread leg, anyway. So that's...
and it's also not coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X, correct?
That's not true. Because I pre-ordered it for PS5.
For Xbox Series X? Did you buy an Xbox Series X, Dave?
No, I would never.
I don't. I mean, it's not in this article, of course. I'm not sure exactly what systems it's been confirmed for yet.
Dude, I pre-ordered it for PS5. You got to trust me on this one.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. The PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, PlayStation 5, Series X. Yep.
Okay. Did you buy a Series X, though? Seriously?
Who, me?
Yes, you.
No. Ew.
The first time you denied it.
It sounded really fake.
No, I really didn't, because I totally don't have the room or time for that. And there's literally nothing on the system I want to play.
He can't play it. He can't play it on the toilet. So
my favorite was the ew. That was awesome, Dave.
That was
ew.
It's just I feel dirty now.
That does constitute my last news article, unless I find something else in the interim.
George Clooney is set to executive produce and possibly star in a new Buck Rogers series being scripted by Brian K. Vaughan of Walking Dead and...
Oh, sorry.
of Walking Dead and,
here.
Of Why the Last Man fame.
Wait, are you serious?
Yes.
All right, that's really huge.
I know, that's why I brought it up.
This is Space Miner Jetpack, not Buck Rogers in the 25th century.
No, this is
Buck Rogers.
This is Buck Rogers in the 25th century TV show. Buck Rogers.
Okay, I thought I saw that, but I thought they'd said it was like the old original style. Okay.
No. I don't see anything that says that.
Okay.
In here. They specifically reference the 25th century TV show.
So, I'll throw this out there. I would anticipate that this is going to be a modernized show. I think it would keep a lot of the same general ideas, but I think we're going to see a modern technology retelling like we did with Battlestar to Battlestar.
Yeah. Well, I don't care as long as Aaron Gray's in it again.
Nice.
But Droghedin, there is not a signed actor George Clooney is the executive producer, and they are saying he could possibly be the person starring in it, but that has not been he has not signed an agreement yet for
No,
that.
no, no. He's not going to be Buck. He's going to be Hawkman, and it's going to be awesome.
I just want to know who they're going to get to play Twinkie. Hello,
Twiggy,
Buck.
dude.
Hello,
I can't even
Buck.
say it. I met him in real life.
That's
When I was like-
the plane guy. Isn't that who's in the suit?
No, he was definitely not at the car show in Philly when I went. But I met him, and like I was like 5 years old or something at the time. Like I had to be like real young. I was like 5 or 6, and I shook his hand, and it was like this like metal robot, and I was like, holy shit! I'm shaking the hand of a robot, and it was like, and I got mad because he didn't say anything, and because I didn't know back then that it wasn't real.
He probably was saying "help me," but you couldn't
Yeah.
hear him through
He
the
probably was, but I was just like, crapping my pants because I was just like, oh, me and my favorite robot ever, So like it was pretty cool. But I shook his hand, and I was really happy to meet him.
Daniel.
I'll start with Paizo, specifically Paizo for Starfinder, they started out when they released Starfinder by putting out these small cutout, punch out cardboard standees for all of their villains, all of their heroes, everything. So I have probably 900 of these Starfinder small cutouts because they're very useful when in person and make things super, super simple. Not that I'm saying you should buy them. But Paizo has also been working and previewing actual modeled minis. And so they announced that they are going to be looking into releasing a 32 figure set currently slated for March that is going to be similar to the Pathfinder sets they have released in the past. They haven't said whether it's going to be a booster where it's a random figure or if it's something specific, but it is neat that they are throwing in the same kind of weight that they have for Pathfinder with their Starfinder series. Starfinder, since in the couple of years that it's been out, has been getting a lot of press and a lot of fans really jumping on it. I'm one of them. I like the history and story and fluff, so I'm actually running a game locally here of that right now. But it's cool. They look pretty good. They are painted fairly well and modeled fairly well and look just like the artist renditions of these characters. So of these monsters and characters. So stoked. Super stoked. 9 out of 10.
Gamersledge. It's not even out. You can't do that. It's got to be out at least. We have to have review copies at least.
Oh, okay.
Netflix has revealed the full cast for their Sandman DC series that is coming. It appears that they're going to have a pretty good lineup of people, including a couple former Game of Thrones stars. Tom Sturridge, who I don't know, is starring as Morpheus. Gwendolyn Christie, who was the female knight, will be playing Lucifer Morningstar. And Charles Dance, who was the father of House...
You got it. Come
has
on.
just stopped working. Lannister.
Yeah.
The
Tywin
Lannister is playing Roderick Burgess. Narcos star Boyd Holbrook will be playing the Corinthian. So yeah, there's all that.
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this is in any way partially because of the fairly popular audio series of Sandman that was released last year?
Yes.
Because I purchased that and listened to it 4 times because it was so good.
Yep.
It is a fully audio casted series of Sandman kind of short stories that all filter together into one big story. 9 out of 10 go get it. And I say that because it's out, because I don't want to get my pee slapped. But yeah, that's awesome. We are big Neil Gaiman fans in this house, and so that is one thing that we are seriously looking forward to.
And in a related story, not because she's actually in the game, but the lead character of Returnal has always reminded me of Gwendolyn Christie for some reason since I first saw it. Returnal has been delayed until April. So it did have a March date. They pushed it back, I think, 5 weeks.
So one of the things that did frustrate me about this news, and you guys can always tell me if I'm talking too much, but one of the things that frustrated me about these news specifically, I love Gwendolyn Christie. I love her. She should be in way more stuff. However, this is a Netflix series. Netflix owns Lucifer. They're both DC Vertigo properties. Why not use the Lucifer you already have?
Because DC doesn't adhere to continuity at all and they don't care about it.
And that right there is the nugget. That's the nugget that
Oh, I
frustrates
know.
me.
I mean, CW's Crisis on Infinite Earth showed more continuity than any of the movies ever have. And that's frustrating. Because they even incorporated the movies in.
They need to have their animation division take over.
Amen to that.
Yeah, I can't.
Because I mean, they're way more consistent with stuff. I mean, even when they go off the rails, it's awesome. Like the Harley Quinn show. Like I don't know how far you're.
Episode 2. Yeah, I'm not that far.
Okay, so you're not even that far into it.
Yeah.
It gets so much better. And the thing is, it starts off so strong. Like it starts off basically like Daria in the superhuman world.
Huh.
Like, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Poison Ivy is totally
100% Daria. Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally like that. It starts off like that, and it's just like they hit with jokes, and they hit the inner core of what's wrong with the fandom. Like they start going after that stuff in the middle of the show, which is awesome jokes, and it's just everything is just hilarious in that show, and it's done super well. And it's completely that's not a canon show. They're all over the place with it. You'll see why that's not a canon show real shortly, because it's just all over the place. But it's just fantastic. The work they do on the animation side of that company is just awesome, and I don't know why they don't embrace that everywhere else.
So Hitman 3 has made back its costs in 1 week. Being one of the most downloaded games on the PlayStation ecosystem last week. So
that's so nice because it stars a bald guy, and I'm really on board with that.
Yeah. Tomb Raider has an anime series in development at Netflix, and the Tomb Raider devs announced that the next game in the series will tie the original storyline and this new storyline together into one continuity. I don't know how they're going to do that, but sure, we'll find out.
It's going to be real blocky.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. That did not deserve that kind of reaction, but I appreciate it.
Well, I found it funny also, not just because of the graphics, but because even the plot of some of those first games was blocky.
It was awful. There was a dinosaur.
There was no smoothness at all to those stories. So tying together, I'm always a fan of tying together continuity. It doesn't matter what series or fluff we're talking about. Tying together continuity has very rarely been bad. But
so you're a big fan of Batman of Zero-Arg.
So I don't know if you've realized that, Daniel, this might be of interest to you. The developer of Hitman 3 is IO Interactive. So if you put their initials together, what do you get?
IOI.
Exactly. So I didn't know if you ever realized that or not, but I
had not
thought that was a fun thing. One of the other pieces of information that kind of slid under the radar in the last couple weeks is that IOI just obtained the license to make James Bond games.
And their first one is going to be a unique Bond. It's so they're not gonna go after any of the movies. They're going with a completely unique Bond character.
And that's
Yep.
the only reason I would be looking forward to it.
Yep. So yeah, that's just another fun little thing that I think flew under a lot of people's radars. I don't have anything else. Daniel, what do you got?
All right, so last one, well, almost last one for me, but it could be the last one for me. Simon has posted that they're working on a new board game based on Masters of the Universe, which is an area I have not seen in board games or card games. When I read this, I was like, wow, now that I think about it, we've seen so many card games pop up and board games pop up and role-playing pop up from this era recently, but I had not seen anything for Masters of the Universe. It is still very early, and so I will make sure that I'll try to catch news bites as they drop to help and shower the audience with information. But essentially, Masters of the Universe is He-Man. That's what we're looking at.
When is that Netflix show happening? That's
What
Kevin Smith was doing.
Oh yeah, no, it's
Yeah, they're-
been quiet for a little while.
Yeah, when?
There's like 3 different things, that have all been gone quiet for a while now.
All right.
It'll just
I'm-
be randomly released one day.
My guess
so
is
disappointed because I really was hoping for answers there, and now this is really harshing my.
You
buzz.
got answers, you just don't like it.
Yeah, that's correct.
my guess is this Masters of the Universe board game was going to be a more kind of not necessarily cartoonish, but more comic level, not comic as in comedy, but comic style of Conan, the board game, based on some of the early artwork and stuff like that. So we'll see.
Masters of the Universe Revelation will premiere on Netflix on March 2021.
Oh.
Ooh, that's coming up.
Oh. Oh.
Nice.
Oh. That's happening soon.
Are you happier with that answer?
I am very happy with that answer.
Good. I like it. I have 2 more.
This is hold on a second. Hold on. We are at a record-breaking week here. This is 3 times in 1 week you've made me happy. That is not typical.
That sounds like a personal conversation you guys need to have.
No, people, please, people.
Warner Brothers has finally patented the Nemesis system after being denied multiple times for their Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor and its sequel Shadow of War. That's it for that one.
Who cares?
I mean, actually, I really like the system and I like the idea.
Yeah, but I just don't care.
I mean, I think we'll see it show up in other Warner Brothers developed properties. So, anyways, that's it.
So I do have a piece of news.
Go ahead.
There's an anime, Black Clover, and the anime is the final episode of Black Clover is airing on March 30th. Though it's not because of ratings or that the manga is ending. It's because it's catching up to the manga. So instead of producing a year filler, they're stopping for now, then going to restart later. They might do a movie. They might start making a seasonal anime, but for now, Black Clover will be stopping on March 30th.
And I lied. I'm sneaking another one in, Danny, before you do yours. Christopher Plummer, who played Von Trapp in The Sound of Music, and also played General Chang in Star Trek Undiscovered Country.
Thank you. That's the real one.
And many other films, including Knives Out, died at 91.
There's been a lot of people that have had like 90-year runs lately that have been ending. And it's just kind of like, I'm really terrified for Betty White.
She's still kicking so far. Go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, that was a big one. Because General Chang was Klingon in Star Trek 2. 2?
6.
not 2, 6. That new Shakespeare.
Close,
I was only off by this many. Um,
but he was awesome.
Muppets, and I will continue to mention this every 2 weeks. The Muppets, all 5 seasons, Disney Plus, February
Yes.
19th, which is 2 weeks from now.
Nice.
Huzzah.
Really looking forward to that because I had them on the DVDs, and I remember going back and like when I got the DVDs, I was like watching them. Like I have the DVDs with like the fuzzy cases,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember going through them, and there's just so much gold in those early seasons of in the seasons of Muppets. They're hilarious, and it's really funny watching the first season, especially because they didn't have like not everything was like so set in stone yet. Like there's a lot of stuff that was still being worked through, like including voices. Like it's going to be really confusing when you watch the first season again because the voices weren't set just yet. And it's kind of hilarious how like it works through. But man, they get dark and experimental at the same time. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's some weird stuff, and then there's some really dark stuff in that first season. But it's really awesome. I'm looking forward to that because I've been a big fan of the Muppets. Even that when they did that Office one that apparently people hated,
I really enjoyed it.
it was hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that show was really funny, and I hate everybody for making that fail because that deserved way more love than it got because that was a really funny show. Um,
I feel that if it had waited 2 years to be solely on Disney Plus and only on Disney Plus, I think it would have been far greater.
that makes
Um,
sense.
it had to compete against television, primetime television on cable, right at a time when streaming services were taking over.
Yeah.
And yes, I am making excuses for why one of my favorite franchises didn't do so well, but
That was a period where a lot of shows died though. So
yeah.
there is definitely
Yeah.
something to that.
But I
Um,
think also people forget. I think a lot of people forget that the Muppets are not for kids necessarily. And Muppets. Wait, that was just called the Muppets, right?
yep.
So like, I think people forget that like initially because like there's literally a disclaimer in the first season of Muppets on like the DVDs I had. I mean, I'm assuming that's going to be included when you rewatch them on that where they like Kermit comes out and talks about how this is different than stuff that they've already seen before. So I'm curious to see like and that's where I always thought the Muppets really kind of existed was like in this kind of like more adult kind of, but
So in an era where some streaming services are removing older TV shows, episodes, and movies due to non-PC terms and subjects being covered,
mhm.
I'm interested to see if any of the Muppets will be taken. Disney has so far been very interesting in how they are approaching certain matters
Yeah.
because they have taken some of these older. I mean, there's some that have pretty obvious racism or
My
and the like.
son turned on Aladdin tonight. He wanted to watch Aladdin, like out of nowhere, just wanted to watch Aladdin. So I was like, sure, turn it on. And I remember we watched it when we first got Disney Plus, and there was like nothing in the beginning of it. And this time, there was like a warning in the beginning of it that it's just like, yo,
So not only are they adding
Robin Williams
warnings,
was kind of racist in the
yeah,
beginning of this.
they've also been moving some of the shows that maybe when we were younger they would have been considered for younger audiences. They've been moving them to adult accounts. So if you have a child account on Disney Plus, which you can do, you can set up a kid account on Disney Plus. It won't show certain items with that. That's part of their filtering process. So I'm not sure how we'll see. We'll see what happens with Muppets. Supposedly we're going to be getting back some scenes and some episodes that have not been included on DVDs or VHS of these since they first aired. So I'm interested to see some of the kind of how to. I'm also hoping that we get a special. I actually don't mind any of the extra stuff Marvel is doing, Disney Marvel is doing with their Disney 616 or any of the background and talking to the other animators or the how things came to be. I'd love to see some of that for Jim Henson, but
Yes.
I don't think we're going to see it here.
I don't understand why we don't get more of that.
Yeah.
Like I'd really like to see more, but I mean, I guess because like some of the people aren't around anymore, so there's going to be some of that. But I mean, his son's still around. I mean, he was involved in a lot of stuff for many years, so I'm sure they can get something together for that. I love the new show that they have.
Now, Disney Now, Muppets Now.
Is it called Muppets Now? I think it's called it is called Muppets
Yeah,
Now.
Muppets Now. Yeah.
That's been hilarious. I love the stuff they do on that. Like they take chances with that, and I feel like the Muppets are just unappreciated, right now. And my son literally watched last week. The movie night on Friday night was the Muppets comeback movie. Which I think was just called the Muppets. The one with what's his face in it?
Jason Segel.
Yeah, Jason Segel. Which was like I love that movie so much, and it came out at a time where I needed that. So like it means a lot to me because I went to see that with all my friends at like one of the darkest points of my life, and it was like just like a real big pick me up because like the Muppets were always like a big thing for us, and it was just like great to see that and come back from that. And I just really I really think that they're just kind of like underappreciated, and that always kind of upsets me a little bit.
I agree.
Danny, do you have another one?
No, that's it for me, boss.
Okay, I have one more. Oh, okay.
Okay, I found one more. Sorry. I actually.
Are we doing that? I'll go look for more.
No, don't look in for any more.
No, this one's important though, because it's relevant to our core one of our core things. But Blade the Vampire Slayer reboot movie has found its writer, and it's Stacy, and I'm gonna butcher the last name because I've never heard it, but Osei Kufor, and she is the lead writer that was on for the HBO limited series Watchmen. So
I did see that.
Watchmen writer is going to be penning the script for the new Blade movie. No director attached yet.
And I can't believe Daniel didn't cover this, but there is now going to be an official Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra tabletop role-playing game coming out, set to release in February of 2022, that will allow people to take on the roles of heroes within the Avatar universe.
I have not seen that. That makes me angry.
That you got scooped or that it exists?
Both.
As long as he's man at Mark, that's all that matters.
Avatar is one of my favorite series, and I love Korra actually more than I love Avatar, Aang the Avatar. And
really, all those blue people, you would like that?
No, wrong Avatar. Magpie Games is the company publishing
really?
it. Yep. So it's a partnership between Magpie and Viacom CBS. So the first one is the core book coming out in February of 2022, and then there will be 2 supplements planned to follow Legend of Korra's Republic City, slated for August 2022, and then a second one centered around the Spirit World coming in February of 2023.
I actually like how they're breaking that apart.
Yeah. So that's it. That's my last piece of news. That's going to bring us then to who is playing Blade. Has that even been?
I thought it was Mahershala Ali, or like that's his name
from 4400, right?
Yeah, and he was Cottonmouth in Luke Cage.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's right.
And
I'm sure there's lots of other things.
No, in the animated Spider-Man Spider-Verse movie, he was the purple guy. What's the purple guy?
Punisher.
Grimace.
Prowler?
No, Prowler.
Yeah. Prowler. Thank you.
Prowler.
Jesus.
Did you say
Purple guy,
Grimace?
purple guy, purple
Did you
guy.
say Grimace?
Somebody said Grimace. Who said
Who
Grimace?
said Grimace? Was that
I
you,
did.
Keegan? Oh,
No,
I thought it was
the
Keegan.
Muppet
No.
Master over there.
Nice.
Grimace. That's
Ah.
He
amazing.
is a purple guy. You are right.
Oh my goodness.
Although we shouldn't assume his
Prowler.
gender
Prowler.
identity.
That's right.
That's, okay, so yes, let's go to final thoughts.
Well, hold on a second. Mahershala Ali is freaking awesome. Like that is,
I didn't say he wasn't.
He's
yeah,
solid.
like
He's
that's
solid.
Yeah, that's going to be an awesome blade right there.
I agree.
I had one more thing, but it's quick.
Okay,
It's a fact check from earlier. Blade, the Vampire Hunter, in an issue in October of 2020, became Sorcerer Supreme,
I thought so.
and is no longer Sorcerer Supreme.
No, I knew it was
So
just
for
like
a
for
very
that.
short
Yeah,
amount of time.
it was like super short, but I was like, oh, Blade got the mantle.
Yeah,
But
that's why I didn't, because I don't actually read his book. So okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'm done. That was me.
Okay. Then that's going to bring us to final thoughts, where we tell people for something to be on the lookout or something that's top of mind for us to carry us over till next week. Also, we like to take this opportunity to thank all the folks that support us. You can support us a myriad of different ways. If you're in our Twitch chat, you can type !merch and it will take you to our merch page. If you're not on Twitch, on any of the other streaming platforms we go on, like BeGo Live, YouNow, or YouTube, you can actually go to bit.ly/Gamersledge merch, all one word, and that will take you to our newest merch page. Matt's merch. I was hoping was going to be here by today, but it didn't come in, so we'll have it for the next podcast to show off. So I'm not just showing off Dave's cool stuff. And then Daniel is supposed to get me some merch to put up on the store
I'm
as
working
well.
on hand-drawn artwork for my merch.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
nice.
Oh, aren't we
Fancy.
showing off? Jeez.
Yeah, I just get drunk and make faces.
Yeah.
Hey, your face it's one of the reasons I appreciate you.
Oh, is that why you appreciate me?
Damn. Daniel with the schmoozing today. That's...
Yep.
So yes, if you are on BeGo Live, make sure you actually double click the heart button, because we appreciate you. Make sure you follow us as well on YouNow. Just like you Blacksmith, make sure you mash that like button as much as you possibly can, because we're new on the platform and we appreciate all the follows and likes that we can get. And then, of course, on Twitch, if you click the follow button, it is much appreciated. If you can hit the subscribe button, you'll become one of our rock stars as well. And then, of course,
are we
I'm
doing
not
final
there.
thoughts?
Not yet. On YouTube, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to be notified whenever you upload new content, which is almost every single day of the week. And then, of course, patreon.com/Gamersledge, where you can get your name on every single show for as little as $1 a month, just like all the fine folks that we like to thank at this point, our Patreon and Twitch producers. So thank you, Justin, Naomi, John, Regina, Lexi. Thank you, Ramey, Michael, Mark, Eric, Tim, John, June, Pat, Dave, Tracy, Michael, Nick, Matt, Dave, Kevin, William, John, and Arturo. Thank you for supporting the channel. And final thoughts, we'll start on the far right and work our way down. So, Dave, final thoughts.
I've been playing Evercade, which is kind of embarrassing because I bought it exclusively because they have 2 Lynx cartridges on there. And
You need to explain to people what Evercade is, because
Evercade is it's a kind of like an emulation platform that uses exclusively cartridges. And I thought I explained this a couple podcasts ago.
you did, but those people might not be watching now.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Because they heard you explain about a handheld that only uses cartridges.
Yes, and there's this classic Lynx game called Chips Challenge, which is this puzzle game. Stop! Don't choke! Don't cry! But it's called Chips Challenge. It was done by Epix back in the day on the Atari Lynx, and it's actually a really good puzzle game. And I'm totally addicted to it again, and I'm just embarrassed to say it. But the Evercade is a great way to play that. And it's actually a really good handheld system, and I kind of love it. And I love it. It does it with cartridges, and you can do different games on it and everything like that. I actually hope it does keeps doing well. But as of right now, there's a bunch of cool stuff out for it, so it's a worthy pickup.
Keegan, you're up next.
Okay. So an anime that's coming out this season that that I haven't seen but has kind of piqued my interest is called Wonder Egg Priorities. So if you're looking for an anime to watch, I'd say check it out because I'm planning on checking it out myself.
Matt, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. As I said, caught up on some comics, so I wanted to hit some highlights. I have my top three from the batch that I just read. The current run of course, I need to turn my thing off. Guardians of the Galaxy, which is being penned by Al Ewing, who you may remember is writing the current bomber run on the Immortal Hulk. This one took a while to take off. The first couple issues are like amazing, and then it kind of goes somewhere, and you're not sure what it's doing. Pays off between issue 9 and 10. It pays off. So that is very good. Donny Cates' Thor run again started off really great, got really weird, and again, just dang what they're doing with the current storyline. Very, very highly recommend. And another name I'm going to butcher because I've never actually heard it said out loud, but I think it's Kieran Gillen. Might be Gian. I don't know. Anyway, he is penning the new Eternals book. And the title page of this book just got me because it says the Celestials came, they created 100 immortals or Eternals, they created 100 deviants, they left, and then literally the shruggy emoticon. That's the title
Nice.
page. This is not funny. It is not a funny book. If you know anything about the Eternals, they are not a funny group. They are a very serious group. They lack any sense of humor whatsoever. And yeah, that's really well done so far. And if anybody knows, who's popular in the Deviants world and, would probably be creeping up in here, you probably know who at least is going to be at least hinted at as a villain pretty early on. So that's my top three of the stack that I finished this week.
Daniel, final thoughts.
So mine's not really for a product, but mine's more of a PSA. And I'm speaking directly to you, introverts out there in the internet. Right now, I know that even you are hurting because while you're fine being at home, so much time at home isn't a good thing. So do your best to drink water and call your friends. Let them know that you're still there. See if you guys can hook up something and play together. Video games, role playing games. There's a lot of options out there, and just take care of yourself and try to get something going on with your friends.
And
That's all.
remember, we love you.
We love you.
My final thought is to help you stay indoors more if you like wrestling. There is a new game that was just announced today, actually. Well, the trailer was launched today. It is coming in, I believe, Q1, so no full date. They said spring 2021. It's called Action Arcade Wrestling. This would actually be right up Dave's alley. It looks like what would happen if you took Fire Pro Wrestling, made it 3D and cel shaded. There's everything so far in it from multi-man matches to pyro to flaming tables to special attacks where it looks like somebody's spitting fire to all kinds of crazy, outrageous moves. Looks like it will be an action arcade wrestling game. No price announced, but the trailer is up online. You can find it on the official PlayStation channel. So yeah, Action Arcade Wrestling. And with that, that's going to bring us to the end of the show. Dave, did you hear any of that?
I did not, actually.
Yeah, Action Arcade Wrestling announced for the PS4. Looks like if Fire Pro had a baby with a 3D wrestling game that's cel shaded. Has flaming tables, pyros, and special attacks where you're breathing fire on people.
You have my interest.
I figured I would. But that brings us to the part of the show where we leave you with a sage piece of advice to carry you through for the 2 weeks until next we speak again. Dave, since you were gone for my section, we'll ask you. Are you ready?
Oh no, don't.
Dave, what happens when you witness a shipwreck?
I would probably get sad.
You let it sink in.
I hate you.
Until next week, thanks for watching and game on.
Game on.
Game on.
That made me sad. Why did you make me sad?